Kim Jong-un, not Elon Musk.
Got a bigger rocket.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
And everyone said that was going to start World War III. But did it? No, it actually backed off Rocket Man. And in the end, they ended up shaking hands, which had never been done before, never been done in the history of the world. And it's that strength that you need when you come into a negotiation. You don't need some guy bumbling and barely able to walk, rolling up in front of the world leaders. They're laughing behind our backs. They're making us look foolish. At least Trump has swagger. He's got Americana, and he's a badass.
I definitely think he's learned a lot.
I do have to say that him dancing with the sword, cutting the cake, that was really high quality entertainment. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that makes people go out and buy a shirt with the American flag in it.
And I think, you know, while we definitely didn't want the last 4 years, I think he's benefited from 4 years of just seeing what can happen. And now he's got the right team assembled. He knows how to move things around. And I think we're going to see real meaningful change.
Yeah, I'm ready for Elon to really cut most of the 2 million plus jobs in the federal government out of the equation, and I'm ready to see over 400 bureaucracies here in the United States that are like a cancer in God's U.S. Republic completely abolished. The IRS needs to be abolished.
Oh. I would like to see, say,
Look at that hat. There it is.
If you are traveling
education gone. I would like to see ATF gone.
Oh, why do you want the Department of Education shut down?
Before the Department of Education, we were ranked 9th in the world. Or no, we were 7th in the world.
In education.
Yes, in education. After the Department of Education, I think today, we are about 14th. No Child Left Behind, drastically dumbed down. The curriculums made it so that students couldn't fail. And then every time
I really appreciated that, by the way. That was really useful because I used that to my advantage. I would get a 90 in every class, and then the next grading period I would get a 0. But they couldn't give you a 0. They could only give you a 50. And do you know what 50 and 90 plus each other are divided by 2? That's a 70. And do you know what 70 does? It passes the class.
Do not wander.
That's right.
curriculum is seen to be upgraded, the teachers union shut it down.
Interesting. Do you think teachers should be paid more?
No.
I do.
Why?
There shouldn't be a public education system.
And I'm ready for Donald John Trump to make Bitcoin's a legal tender here, like what has happened in El Salvador with Nayib Bukele.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
What's the benefit of having a cryptocurrency reserve?
Well, with Bitcoins, we have to adapt to that as Americans. We have to have that because if we don't, we're going to be very, very far behind of other nations like El Salvador, who's leading the way.
Yeah.
Those people there.
I guess it's just important to have market regulation when it comes to, Bitcoin because of pump and dump schemes. Like, did you see the Haktua coin?
Right, that's a huge problem. We have Bitcoins, they're incredible, and then we have all the scam coins out there. And there are so many altcoins that are just wreaking havoc.
Yeah, because it's
Life
hard.
after life.
It's hard because you want to have a free market, but then the crypto world is just so full of scams. It's like you need some element of regulation.
Right, there needs to be some type of thing put in, and hopefully Trump can get it done.
Yeah.
What do you think about this upcoming presidency, bro?
I'm actually Cuban. I was born in Cuba.
Well, I think that, maybe the idea is that, remember how Trump said, I know that the system of taxes are rigged because I'm the one rigging the system? Maybe the Trump coin was him doing investigative research in the crypto because now he can say, I know how the crypto scene is rigged because I'm the one that, how do people rug coins? Well, I know because I did it. Yeah.
In 2011, first term for Trump, didn't really agree with him, didn't really agree with the way that he spoke about immigrants, especially I was not citizen yet. I didn't think about voting on the second term, but something happened. And I saw that Biden took such a comfortable back seat during July 6th back in Cuba. I don't know if you've heard about the situation.
Tell us about it.
So,
No idea.
I think it was 2022. There was a massive revolt all around the island.
Oh, wow.
All the cities were taking to the streets, protesting that they were sick and tired. There was no food.
I didn't even know this fucking happened. That's crazy.
there's no power. The government basically hoards all the resources, and instead of
guy's from our
distributing them
Discord.
like they're
Yeah.
supposed to, communism, they give it to like the people that.
This guy's a
work close
viewer? Are you guys serious? Like, is this guy actually a viewer?
with them, the agents.
Yes. Oh
It's
my
like
god.
Venezuela.
like Venezuela, exactly, same thing.
Yeah.
It was violent. The police were,
Serious?
and there are videos
That's
of
fucking
police
hilarious.
breaking
Wow.
into like the house of one of the organization leaders. They shot him right in front of the family.
Yeah.
You can see like the blood running. It's really sad. I was crying throughout that entire place. Like it was tragic.
And how did Biden respond to the July 6th events?
He didn't do anything. He
Oh.
basically said we're not gonna touch anything revolving around Cuba. We're gonna leave them to their devices. And there's a group of Cubans that today are gonna be having a protest in front of the White House to basically encourage Trump to look at that situation and try to do something, try to help.
Yeah. How long did it take you to achieve citizenship?
Well, for me,
So the one guy that's a viewer from my stream is well-spoken, a legal immigrant, and has a deep understanding of political events. I think that makes a lot of sense. Wow, what a surprise.
it was around 6,
How about
7
that?
years. It's not hard. You just gotta know history, learn the history. They literally give you a booklet with the answers. Jesus.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Thank you. Can you tell me about your sign?
Sure. So mine says protect trans kids.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of discourse about trans people right now all the time.
Birds aren't real, Yanni or Laurel. Jesus Christ. How many Funko Pops do you think she owns? I'd say at least a dozen.
Talking points being made are word for word identical to what they were 20 years ago or 30 years ago about gay people.
It's like we have mutants living among us on planet Earth.
I think if kids want to change their name, explore gender identity, do whatever the fuck they want, that's fine. If they at some point want to do something medical about it, then they can have an informed conversation with a parent and or medical professional.
And what threat do you think the next 4 years pose to that?
I mean, Trump said he's going to sign an executive order on day one saying that there are two genders, so...
Yep. Yep, that's over. This is over. He did. It's done. I think that the inclusion of trans into like the gay movement has done irreparable damage to it. And I feel like most people's problems with LGBT is 90% the T, if not more.
There's a pretty imminent threat of getting kicked out of the military, losing gender inclusive care.
Yeah.
People are gonna die from this, and that's really shitty.
Transgender students in sports became a top issue on the 2024 campaign trail, and now a top priority of House Republicans in the new Congress.
The only time that the general public started caring about trans people in women's sports was when they started winning. Like, Leah Thomas isn't even, she's a good swimmer. She's not the best.
Yeah.
There's no epidemic of men going into women's sports and sweeping that's not
true.
happening.
Yeah.
And also being on estrogen long term actually weakens your physical abilities. And medical transition is often necessary to compete in women's sports.
¿Qué?
¿Tienes frío tú ahí?
No.
Yo pensaba algo ahí
¿Está fresco?
del vapor, yo creo que sí. Capaz que es porque salgo del calor de la esta, pero...
Tengo el vaporizador apagado.
No por el vaporizador, sino por la cámara, pero...
¿Pero vos sentís frío?
No ahora cuando he salido, pero capaz que es por el cambio de, ¿sabes?
Claro, sí.
Dentro y todo.
On election day, this means that so many people have to go into hiding, can't be themselves. People are...
They need to, for this Halloween, maybe they can do Make America Great Again Handmaid's Tale outfits. for all the people that cried on election day. There's still a bunch of them.
Like Grant said, people are gonna die. People are. It's just I'm legitimately terrified for my immigrant friends. I stay awake at night thinking about them, thinking about trans people. Whether or not you think that gay people should exist, trans people should exist, immigrants should be here or not, what I hope we can all come together and understand is that humans are humans. Maybe they did commit a crime, maybe they do something that you don't agree with. They are still people. The mass deportations of immigrants.
I wonder what, like, people like that, I see, like, I can respect, for example, I can respect the woman who gave that sermon the other day, who was, like, talking about, like, hoping that Trump would give, you know, not leniency, but be merciful on the immigrants and the migrants, because I think that that's, like, that's congruent with their religion. But what I think a lot of people find to be problematic with people like this is that I wonder what her viewpoints are on people who maybe didn't take the COVID vaccine, or maybe these are people who shared racist views on social media, or people that did something that is transphobic. Like, how do you think those people should be treated? And so I think the issue is that, like, if you're going to look at this from like a religious point of view, and you're going to say everybody should be treated the same, this is what Jesus would have done, I can respect that even though I disagree with it. Because it's consistent and it is like, it doesn't like, it's not morally hypocritical. But with something like this, and to be fair, I am projecting. I don't know what her viewpoints on these are. But from what I've seen, I feel like there's a huge hypocrisy going on.
The Vietnam War and killed a lot.
The mass deportation of immigrants is going to kill people.
What are your thoughts on the whole like mass deportation issue?
Mass deportation. My wife is Mexican. Like I said, I live by the border. I love the Mexican people. There's a lot of good people. Definitely start at the top.
This guy's watched a lot of Trump speeches.
Meaning the worst and work our way down.
He's right.
You know, necessarily not so many all these little, you know, people with their families or people second generation, this and that. You know, let's not get too carried away. We'll start with the worst and we'll work our way down. When you got murders and rapists in San Diego County, we have not just a sanctuary city, we have a super sanctuary city.
What does that mean?
Not only can you not tell ICE.
Yeah, he's completely right, by the way.
It's a problem with an illegal alien. You can't tell them even if they committed armed robbery or rape. They're like, no, what about the poor rapists and armed robbery? We can't send them back. We can't tell ICE.
We will not allow our local resources to be used for actions that separate families.
So they don't want to use the resources, which is what they're calling ICE, just because they want to protect illegal aliens. I think the people...
Yeah, this has been a huge component. And I think, again, like, people can smell bullshit. It's obviously that this is bullshit. You can't say that everybody is somebody, then say a racist should be killed. I mean, I don't know if they're saying that, right? But yeah.
People that are doing these laws are actually paid off by the cartel. It's a crazy conspiracy. I know. You know, it's one thing having immigration, but when you just have a total open border, and then when they come in, they get free health care, they get free cell phones, they get free hotels, when our homeless people are living on the streets. I mean, come on, people. We gotta do this legally, right?
We need to have a very
Man. Could be another viewer.
solid immigration policies will keep attracting the best talents across the world to this land to build it up, build economy, build companies, hire employ people, you know. I pay tax and I want my tax to benefit my neighbors.
Gema de habilidades y tasar nivel 13.
Community, right? I don't want other countries take advantage of the United States people.
Scientology. Fucking exactly.
No tengo sexo, pero tengo un buen persona.
A fucking migrant. I want them going to the homeless people here in Austin. I don't want him going to Israel. I don't want him going to a migrant.
Claro.
To another random fucking country. I don't want them going to
La que sabe, sabe.
industrial complex.
Alguna otaku va a
I
entender.
feel like that's the way everybody feels almost.
Thank you. Are you a Scientologist? No. Do you think that we're Scientologists?
Nope, just getting the message out, that's all.
Okay, what's the worst thing Scientology's done?
They use children for auditing, so 8, 9, 10-year-olds are asking grown men about masturbation and anal sex.
That's not good. Do you feel like...
Hashtag save the children.
Are you hoping for like exoneration?
Sounds pretty bad.
6 people?
I am indeed. In fact, I was down there at the vigil for the J6ers down on Freedom Corner with Nikki Withoff, who is Ashley Babbitt's mother. In fact, I have Ashley Babbitt's ashes in this necklace right here. I made this necklace with Ashley Babbitt's ashes. I made it for her and her.
Andrew really found. He really finds the best people, doesn't he? He really gets the best people. That's incredible.
Infection!
Husband.
This morning, new details about 35-year-old Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer.
I was down there and I was told that the word on the street is the guards were told to stay late tonight to help release the prisoners.
Are they being held in D.C. right now?
Oh yeah, they're not far from here, a few miles down the street.
Thank you so much, Matt. Any message to the American people before we go?
You should go watch his movie. This guy makes some great documentaries. I went to his premiere. It was freaking awesome. Thanks, brother.
I appreciate you, Matt. Thanks, Doug. Have a good one.
Yeah.
If you missed it, just 5 days ago, we dropped our first ever independent film called Dear Kelly, a project that's being received quite well across the political spectrum. It explores the life, backstory, and beliefs of a man named Kelly J. Patriot, who I
remember this guy.
White Lives Matter rally in 2021.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant was assassinated by the twins.
The film was shot over the course of 3.5 years, documenting Kelly's radicalization, his quest for revenge against a private lender, and his family's attempts to pull him out of the rabbit hole and put family first. The film is currently being self-hosted and privately distributed at www.dearkellyfilm.com for the low rental cost of $5.55. So if you want to support us and see the movie, head on over. All right,
that's badass.
Back to the streets of DC.
Oh yeah, we are surrounded by ancient pagan symbols, from the obelisk there, which may be the biggest obelisk in the world, to the dome there of Isis, the ever-pregnant womb of Isis, and the occult mindset. That's what that is.
I think he's going a little bit too far with that one. But the first one, I could see that.
With the apotheosis of George Washington, which is that mural inside the dome, which represents that Masonic future that so many Masons are into having, where they ascend as a god into some type of paradise. It's not from the Bible, and I'm totally against all that. I'm standing here for Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Lord of the heavens and the earth.
Okay, I'm a bit confused. You're here for Jesus Christ. However, the pagan symbology is also important.
Well, it's not important to me, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
The plan that was put in place to build Washington, D.C. was a plan, in fact, to honor the ancient gods. And the plan was not to honor Jesus Christ. The people who designed this place, the main people, were into it to honor their Masonic god, who is Satan, recorded about in the King James Version Bible.
It's Lucifer. It's the Lucius Trust. There's like Illuminati is derivative of Lucifer, which is a like a term for light bringer. I don't want to reveal my power level about this, but yes, this is true.
I think was controlling Biden behind the scenes.
Obama was definitely a key player.
Obama? Again?
In my research, Obama is more like
No, it wouldn't have been Obama. If it was Obama, it would have done a better job.
manager in Satan's hierarchy. He's got the World Economic Forum. He's got the UN. He's got King Charles and the monarchy. He's got so many different groups that have extreme amounts of power compared to me.
Yeah. Do you think that there's kind of like a second deep state forming around Trump?
Well,
yes.
Just protect Trump from having that happen, God. Please help him not to make the same mistakes that he made when he was the 43rd president of the United States. God.
Where do you get most of your news and information from?
Twitter.
X.
There you go.
That's just Infowars.com with Alex Jones.
Did you use X back when it was...
Man, bro. Twitter and InfoWars. This guy is locked and fucking loaded. He's ready to go to war. All right.
In control of Jack Dorsey? Well, I did, and I got suspended multiple times.
What'd you do?
Was that kind of a wake-up call for you, just having your account taken down multiple times? I was really aware of that type of thing back in 2013 when I started listening to Alex Jones. He started to wake me up to how things really work in a general way. How we're in a war.
So this is like a 10-year wizard. That's pretty good. It's a good start.
There's a group called the Globalists, and they want to depopulate the Earth, and they want to get it down to under 500 million people. Yeah. And they want to bring in their new world order system, their technotronic state where you can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast. It's right there in the book.
This is this correlates to the World Economic Forum, and he's referring to a quote that was made by a Rothschild, and it was talked about maybe 15 years ago. But that quote and that conversation is very, very little known. Like, people don't really know a lot about that. They don't want you to know? Yes. And he's like 50% there, Zeitgeist. I think it was discussed in that movie, but that movie came out in like 2009. But he actually had said that way before then. Heard about this? Yes.
She made light work of that.
Revelation, the King James Version Bible. I mean, we may live in that time. We may go through it. I'm ready to die for Jesus. I never take that.
Yeah, so just so you understand the full context of this. So basically, people are radicalized because they're concerned that people who are, for example, like Freemasons, who are, or you know, part of like Lucius Trust or some other form of what they consider to be devilry, are going to create a social and governmental apparatus that's going to cause people to undertake a certain object or item into their body that will then be used as a mark of the beast that will make it to where they can't go to heaven. And that's why a lot of people were worried about the COVID vaccine, and that's also worried about why people are worried about chips as well. So in case people didn't know, like Neuralink is another example of that. That sounds insane. Oh yeah, no, well that's the lore of it, right? That's how it comes from. Is this supposed to happen? Yes, and it already is happening.
Taking the mark of the beast, no matter what. That's the mark of the beast. It could be a microchip in your hand, this one, your right one, or your left one, and then maybe it's some type of Neuralink chip in your head. Yeah. Or maybe something more advanced than that. Some people have said...
What the fuck? I already know all these boss mechanics. Yeah, I've done this raid before. I've gone through this on Mythic before. It's not a big deal.
The nanoparticulates, or however you say it, in those bioweapon shots from Big Pharma are some type of mark of the beast thing.
That's the COVID vaccine.
Hey man, well, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. And our show's called Channel 5. Be sure to check it out, man. Appreciate you, dude. Thank you. You're awesome too. Yeah, man. I love you. You too.
Channel 5 Live.
Just learned something today, bro. Yep.
Channel 55. We don't fuck with bastards.
Yep. I was doing a lot of that stuff. I mean, I tell you guys, like, with this kind of stuff, if you don't know what's going on with any of this kind of shit, like, I definitely do. I mean, I've spent a lot of time invested in knowing about all this stuff and hyper-focusing on it, thinking about it, getting involved with it, everything like that. Do your research. Yes, you have to not do your research, do your own research. You have to do your own research. You can't let somebody else do it for you. And this is a great video by Andrew. I heard a little bit about his film. I'm probably going to look more into that soon, so we'll see what happens. You said your mom was an expert on this stuff? I don't think that you guys understand. So my mom was a writer. She went to college, and she had a 4.0 GPA in graduate school. She spent all day learning about crazy shit. I swear to God, she probably knew more crazy shit than Alex Jones did. Because she knew all kinds of, like, religious shit. She knew about other cultures, like, everything. It was fucking insane. By the time that she had, like, she was watching Alex Jones in 1995. I was a little kid because we were in Austin and Alex Jones was in Austin. Like, she had things printed out. Like, she already knew everything. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm telling you guys, like, yeah, she had, like, all these, like psychology books and, like, everything. I'm trying to remember. She was all, yeah, I mean, like, and the thing is that I'm trying to remember, like, some more examples of it. And so anyway, so she told me about all of this stuff. That's how I know all of this. It's because, and I probably forgot, because she knew so much about it. Bedtime stories as a kid were conspiracy theories. You know what's really funny about that? Is, yes. And I remember, so there was a barbecue place that you know, is like near my house, and I went to this barbecue place, and I told her that there were two conspiracy people talking about it, and I told her what they were talking about, and she didn't even really want to go down there because she thought they were too low level, because they were like exchanging these two crazy guys had like these big binders full of information, and they were trading them back and forth, and she's like, oh yeah, I knew about that in like, you know, like 1998 or something like that. What did she think about the planes hitting the towers? What do you think she thought? Yeah, what do you think? Right? And was your mom religious? Yeah, I was raised Roman Catholic. And yeah, absolutely.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and exclusive access to all things VIP, so you can superfan from your soap.
It's possible to reduce the elemental damage they take. And as soon as you're able to get Infernal Leaps, make him survive even after death a bit longer. Minion Mastery to have a...
Dale, gema habilidad nivel 3. Vamos, Minion Mastery. Allá voy, qué bien, papá. Nivel 14, culiado.
So it was crazy. A lot of stuff. RFK files are supposedly releasing today.
It was crazy.
But either way, this video. So yes, I know like any conspiracy theory.
It was really crazy.
That's how I know about it. And then also like I know stuff that she didn't know, which is the internet stuff. Like she didn't get into like the social media part of the internet really hardly at all. And so like when I see that. I know all, like, I know probably about, I would say 10 to 20% of what she knew about conspiracy theories. Like, if that. The JFK, not RFK? I know that. Did I say RFK? I meant to say JFK. Yeah, she would have been all over Twitter now, though. No, she would go to Twitter, too. She would watch, just a lot, like, she watched The Usual Suspects, basically. Like, think about all the people that conspiracy theorists would watch. She would watch them. There it is. Yep. And let's see, I'll look at a few more of these. RFK was a conspiracy tool? Well, I don't know about that. I have no idea. David Icke? Oh, yeah, I knew all about David Icke. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%. It's not even a question. Stopped watching TV 25 years ago. Read like under books. This streaming wasn't really a thing at the time. Yeah. And let me see, I'll look at a few more of these. Do you believe all the conspiracy stuff? I think that it's important to know what happened and to know the information to provide a frame of reference. But for the most part, I think that she would try to put pieces together when she didn't have the full puzzle. And so she'd make pictures that weren't entirely accurate. You know, it's like you have a jigsaw puzzle with 1,000 pieces and you have 970 pieces. You're going to kind of have the picture, but if you try to make them all fit together, it's going to be a little bit distorted. So I think that's really the case with a lot of that stuff. She would vote Trump. Yes, she voted for Trump in 2020. I remember I had to drive her up there. She couldn't even go inside the building, and they like actually. The thing is that the people that do voting are like really, they're really nice people, and they let her vote from the car. Like they took the whole machine out there to her, and she was able to do the whole thing on her own. And so, yeah. I can't even tell if this guy's serious. Everything that I'm saying is completely serious. And I'm sorry? No, I mean, that's just the way it is, right? I mean, you get older, and that's just what it is. So, yeah. When Snowden exposed the NSA, it validated a lot of conspiracy theories. Oh yeah, she knew all about that. And I remember when Snowden exposed it, there was nothing that Snowden exposed that she didn't already know, basically. And she was like, see, I told you, now he's saying it. Now do you believe me? And I'm like, okay, well, maybe some of this stuff is true. Do you think there's a chance Snowden's pardoned? A chance that Snowden is pardoned. I don't think that he will. It would be absolutely fucking based if Trump pardoned Snowden and Julian Assange. Like, I would love to see that happen, but I'm not expecting to see it happen, and I don't think you should either. So, yeah. I just don't think that's really what's going to happen. Slim chance, slim? Yeah. For the interest of the actual safety, he can't pardon him. He'd be assassinated immediately. Did she believe in the Anunnaki? I mean, she thought maybe it happened. I'm not really sure, like, how specific she was on it, but yeah, a little bit. What do you about Ross being pardoned, founder of Silk Road? I think that the, what do you call it? I think that he spent enough time in jail, and I think that the judge's ruling on him is biased. And so because of that, I feel like, again, you know, putting him in jail because he has privilege, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So, that's the way I feel about it. Look how you said that completely wrong. Yeah, I probably did. But, I've only heard it, like, probably 2 or 3 times, and, I've read it all the rest of the time. Base pardon Silk Road owner. Yeah, exactly. Made a website. Yeah, he had a website where people could buy things with crypto back in the day, like 2010. And then he got arrested in 2011. So, yeah, there you go. Trump's just another oligarch. He's not anti-establishment. He's just another version of it. There's no way he pardons Snowden or Assange. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. I mean, it would be cool if it did, but I just don't really expect it myself. But we'll have to see what happens, right? I don't really know. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Not really a whole lot else, but let me go back, and I will link you guys the video one more time. And there it is. I've got to go and do recording and do some shit. So I'm going to probably call it a day. I can chill out for maybe like 5 more minutes, but we got a little bit of a short day today. And then tomorrow we're going to be back on to the normal schedule. That is the plan. That is the plan. Yep. People don't know what oligarch means. That doesn't really matter. New fire in LA, evacuation orders, schools being evacuated. Holy fuck, man, that's really bad. Yeah, I hope everything's okay. Did you watch the Bernie Sanders video? No, I didn't get time for it. Remind me tomorrow and we'll watch it. Because I was going to, I just didn't really have time. I mean, I can expect what Bernie Sanders is talking about, but we'll see what happens. Amazon Canada shut down all business in Quebec because one of the warehouses unionized. Fuck them. There it is. Yeah, bro, you can't let them get together and start talking amongst each other. Yeah, what is that? Absolutely not. It's the usual Bernie talking points. Good. I mean, I agree with his talking points. I think a lot of people do. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely. Alabama snowed first time in 10 years. Yeah, a lot of places it's happened for the first time in a long time. There should be a theory that EU Nazis stole particle accessory technology from ancient Indian ruins. I don't know if she really talked about that a whole lot. Would you debate with your mom a lot? Yeah, I'd argue with her about stuff all the time. Wait, global cooling now? No, it was never global warming. It was always climate change and climate destabilization. Global warming was kind of like the first draft of people identifying a shift in like the way the planet was. And then after it was discovered and like investigated more, then it turned out to just be climate change. So yeah, and I'm a believer in climate change. Sorry guys, I'm sure this is disappointing, but yeah. So your Shanghai is opening up to World Wide Web. Oh, that's great. Fuck yeah. Did your mom have any theories on what was under the snow and ice of Antarctica? No, but she had books on it. I paid for them. She ordered them on my card. There was like 2 or 3. Can you elaborate on that? On what? I'd have to, think about it. But yeah, there's a lot of people that think that like crazy weird stuff is underneath Antarctica. Are you a flat earther? No, not really. Yeah. Reddit just removed, WoW Reddit just removed Exile. Posting X's lengthy moderation. Visit photo teams cannot in good conscience provide a platform for this website. We no longer consider a reliable source of news information, don't want to support the company in any way. Images. So you're disallowing links and images? That's a lot. So you can't even show a screenshot of a tweet. Wow. Huh? There it is. Do you think Reddit is going to cannibalize himself? 100% a concerted effort from some group this time? Yeah, maybe. It's going to backfire on these idiots. I think really what's going to end up happening with something like this is that it's not going to be a problem until something else happens that's equivalent, and then people don't have the same energy for it. Because like a lot of people, this is one of the big issues that I think a lot of people have, is that they're like overly critical of American bad behavior, but they completely sweep under the rug foreign bad behavior. And I think that that's a huge, huge issue. And I feel like once that gets exposed, it's going to make them look very bad.
Is running away.
It's the only correct way to do it. If you only allow screenshots, people will fake screenshots, and then you can't link people to verify. I mean, maybe it's just a stupid rule though. Trying to censor or share the information to protest one man is not a good idea. No, it's not. It's just it's a pointless virtue signal. I think it's really stupid, but that's just the way that people are, right? And you can't be too surprised. But we're not doing that on my subreddit. You guys can still post, like I'm not going to censor stuff or whatever. I think actually we have like some of our posts or like links or like some of them are not allowed, but some of them are. It really just depends. But yeah, it's a given. Yeah, of course. What happened today with politics? Not a whole lot. Apparently the JFK files are going to get released really soon. But I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, so we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, gentlemen, I've got to go ahead and do some other stuff. Thank you guys all very much for watching. I appreciate it. We had a great day today, and I'll be back on tomorrow. We'll have another great day then. And I'm not sure really what the plans are going to be, but we will figure it out at that time. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you then.
Yes, the horn of the Destiny. I know the tale. The ancient city of Keth, the Badlands, and the Valley of the
Should have just like magically got people to be on board with this. Please stop. I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into this. Vegans are right. Vegans are morally right. I'm a morally repugnant person who can't control himself, and I still love consuming animal products. Let's just not get into it, please. I'm not going to do a vegan debate right now in the midst of like the Burger Reich. Okay? Please, eyes on the prize, okay? One of the things that I've always consistently been an advocate for also is like, one, making the meat production and poultry production more ethical as you possibly can, and greatly limiting it by the federal regulatory agencies, while also simultaneously looking for and investing greatly in alternative non-meat substitutes that taste and look and feel exactly like the meat products. This is a thing that I advocate for all the time, because I understand that these kinds of changes can only happen at the systemic level, and it's not going to work in a decentralized movement, okay? Especially in a country like the United States of America, where treats are supreme. We care about treats more than anything else. Okay? One of the most popular ways in which people have actually criticized the Green New Deal has been the false association with AOC trying to take your burger away. Americans are cheeseburger people. They're hamburger people. And even the fake lie that your hamburgers are going to be taken away created so much controversy for a bill that actually wasn't going to do that anyway. Okay. Anyway. Hamburger. U.S. military orders. I digress. Let's get back to the issue at hand. U.S. military orders thousands more troops to the southern border.
Policies go into effect. Officials tell CNN that the U.S. military is sending thousands of additional troops to its southern U.S. border. This comes just 2 days after President Trump ordered the military to step up its presence there. About 2,200 active duty forces are already at the border as part of Joint Task Force North. They're mostly performing support roles for Customs and Border Patrol. Officials say the new arrivals will be doing much of the same, as they're not authorized to perform any sort of law enforcement role. Bringing concerns at the Pentagon for us. What more do we know at this point?
Yeah, so we know at this point that the U.S. military is ordering thousands of additional active duty troops to the border to augment Customs and Border Patrol activities and mission operations down there. But they're not going to be engaged in any kind of law enforcement role, because that is actually banned by a law, by a centuries-old law called from being used domestically for law enforcement purposes. So they're primarily going to be, doing things like data entry, transportation of migrants around different facilities, intelligence support, as well as some additional support in air operations. But they're not going to be engaging extensive.
I know you're talking about a different topic, but at some point I think it's important to touch on the Southern halt on federal funding's agency communications that has basically put a stop on the proceedings to provide funding for scientific research. Multiple research study panels have been suddenly canceled due to the executive orders recently passed. Also, all EDI initiatives have been wiped from the funding agency website. What is EDI initiative? Is that a different way of saying DEI? I know that, yeah, they're taking out DEI. They're taking it out back and killing it.
In the day-to-day with migrants. But still, this is significant because it does make good on President Trump's promise just earlier this week that he is going to augment the presence of the U.S. military at.
They're taking away electronic data interchange? What is, I don't know what that, I don't know what you're talking about.
The border. Now, as you said, there are roughly 2,200 active duty troops already at the border, and they're supported by Texas National Guard contingent there. And so what this is going to do is essentially lay the groundwork, we're told, for an even bigger military footprint to be sent in the coming weeks and months to the border. This is not, something that the president can, just in terms of ordering them to engage in law enforcement functions. This is something that the president has the authority to do under the Insurrection Act. And he has said, in an executive order issued Monday, that if within 90 days he and the Secretary of Defense determine that the border is not under control and that more resources need to be used to control the flow of migrants across the border, that he can invoke the Insurrection Act, which would then allow the U.S. military to perform those law enforcement functions like arrests, searches, and seizures, as well as
1, 2, 3, 4 puntos de ascendencia.
That we need to watch for, but for now, this is really just President Trump and the Department of Defense making good on their promise.
Looking good, brother.
Customs and Border Patrol, as well as DHS,
looking good.
Their resources at the southern border, as they have been stretched thin in recent years with the ongoing flow of migrants across the U.S.-Mexico borders in.
All right, Natasha Bertrand, live for us there. Thank you so much. All right, Donald
Puta
Trump
madre,
says that deportation operations have actually already begun. Tom Herman told Fox News earlier that ICE agents arrested 308 serious criminals in the past 24 hours. The president says that ICE agents can now make arrests at churches and at schools, which were previously considered off limits because they are sensitive places. Julius Wallace-Jones joins us live now from the U.S.-Mexican border in California, which is, of course, ground zero for the immigration battle. So, Julia, just
empiecen a deportar todos esos mexicanos de mierda.
This rounding up of undocumented immigrants, these arrests have actually already begun. Just talk us through what the reaction is where you are, especially
Deporten los mexicanos.
A sanctuary state.
Yeah, exactly, Zane. Look, people are scared. We're talking to folks
Deportación.
It's fear
Deportación.
Right here, both for people who are in the...
By the way, did you see IG automatically following JD Vance from people's accounts without them knowing? I thought it was BS, but then I looked it up and had a few people I know who had never followed him on mutuals list. No, dude, it's because JD Vance's account swaps over, just like on Twitter. You were following at VP when it was Kamala Harris or something, most likely. And then that happens every administration. If you were following the vice presidential account, thinking you were following Kamala Harris, it swapped over to JD Vance. I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe Meta is doing that. Maybe Meta is also forcing people to follow the VP account or something. And I wouldn't put it past them at all. But I think a lot of this stuff is, POTUS account or VP accounts that people follow, and a lot of the. What is this? No, it refollows you. It's new, not the old one. Supposedly, even if we're not following the VP or POTUS accounts, they make you follow them. Let's take a look. I don't even know if I follow the VP or POTUS accounts, if we're being real. But let's see. I'm not following the VP account. Instagram has not made me follow the POTUS account, nor has it made me follow the VP account. This is the Meta spokesperson's statement. People were not made to automatically follow any of the official Facebook or Instagram accounts for the president, vice president, and first lady. Those accounts are managed by the White House. So with the new administration, the content on those pages changes. This is the same procedure we followed during the last presidential transition. It may take some time for follow and unfollow requests to go through as these accounts change the end. Now look at Donald Trump and JD Vance. I might have actually already followed Donald Trump, but I definitely wasn't following JD Vance. And I'm still not following JD Vance. Was Donald Trump real Donald Trump? I guess I wasn't following Donald Trump either. What is it? It's a brand new account? Yeah, I'm saying that Meta might have a policy in place where they auto-follow the new POTUS account, okay, and the previous account turns into an archive account. Like, so you automatically now auto-follow the brand new account. Unless it's an account that gets wiped, I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I can see it being two different things. We're going to talk about the DEI stuff in a second. Let's continue with this.
Immigration system. So folks who are already in the process, that who have a piece of paper saying that says that they can stay in the United States through their immigration process, they are quite fearful at this point because they don't know what will happen. There's just been so many changes. And yes, California is a sanctuary state. It's also home to dozens of sanctuary cities.
Deportación.
People don't
Deportación.
don't know. People who work
a los mexicanos.
What will come of this? There's just been too much so quickly, we spoke yesterday with a family from Venezuela who came over and who said, look, yes, we got our appointment for asylum. We had our initial interview, but we don't know if this program will even be standing by the time that we get to the end of this process. And another thing that happened that I think is important to note is that these organizations along here, the southern border in California, who have been working in partnership with federal authorities like Catholic Charities, which we visited yesterday. We spoke with the CEO, who told us, look, they're saying they're not going to release migrants to our care any longer. So it raises a lot of questions of what will happen.
Campo de concentración.
He said to us,
Campo de concentración.
2021, once the Remain in Mexico policy was lifted and migrants
de trabajo forzado
in the United States while
a los deportados.
Their date in court, they have been key to helping about 400,000 people to get on their way in the United States to make it to their day in court. And now where will they go? Will they be held in detention centers here in the United States? Will they be dropped off in these cities across the U.S. border to be on their own, or will they be told to stay in Mexico? All of this just adding to the uncertainties that we're feeling here at the U.S.-Mexico border.
President Donald Trump's promise of mass deportations in the U.S. is causing panic and anxiety among immigrant communities. His administration issuing new directives, including one that allows immigration authorities to arrest people near and inside places previously considered off-limits, and that includes schools and churches. CNN's Ed Lavandera visited one Texas city that's now preparing for raids.
Good morning, Cactus Elementary!
Every school day at Cactus Elementary starts like this. Moments of patriotism and reflection with a high-energy dose of inspiration from Principal T.J. Funderburg. You do that every morning?
Yes, sir.
When I looked out on the student body this morning, I mean, it's quite something to think that we're in the Texas Panhandle, and that's what your student body looks like.
It's always very eye-opening to people that come here. We've got 13, 14 different languages, all these different cultures represented. And yeah, we're up here in part of the Texas Panhandle. Everybody think it'd be farm and ranching country and kids in cowboy hats, and we've got just about a little bit of everything.
The population in Cactus, Texas, is about 1,000 people. It's staggering. There's an African restaurant, safari restaurant and halal meat. There's an Asian grocery store. There's a Mexican butcher shop. There's a Guatemalan grocery. There's also an Islamic center. What draws so many immigrants and migrants here to a community like this is the work, and it is brutal, back-breaking work. There is a meat processing plant that runs 24 hours a day. There are dairy farms that run nonstop.
You gotta mention a 3-minute on Will Minnick's episode of Doom Scroll. We'll look at this later.
These are the kinds of jobs that the United States economy and food supply rely on.
That's crazy, man. It's like the humanization of migrants, specifically migrant workers, that are the backbone of American produce, American agribusiness, and many other sectors, okay, who are hyper-exploited, and their workplace conditions should be brought up to the standards of documented labor forces. It almost feels like these pieces could have been consistently talked about since, I don't know, February of 2021, when Joe Biden was the president and had promised that in his first 100 days, he was going to do wide sweeping legislation in terms of offering amnesty to a lot of these people that have been in the country for extended periods of time, for example.
Nivel 53.
That Biden ran on.
Juliao.
And was very, and definitely all these things that was cast aside in the first month of the administration. And it's not an afterthought. It's not hindsight to say that it would have been devastating. It was going to become much worse the situation was going to become much more dire if they didn't actively communicate that these people are just regular old...
Yo, all deserve to die.
Just like anybody else.
Fucking
and in much worse conditions in general. If only this kind of framing could have been brought in by mainstream media and pushed for by the Democratic Party in general. Now, before people say, Hassan, hindsight is 2020, it wasn't hindsight in the month of February when Hassan was saying this, routinely warning the incoming administration that if they don't do this, okay, if they don't do this at all, if the Democrats don't actually put a front-facing, pro-immigrant agenda, that inevitably Republicans would captivate the population with no counterbalance and would completely dominate the messaging on the issue of immigration. I said this in February
immigration question.
When right out of the gate, one of the first things the Customs and Border Patrol did under the Brandon regime was like whip Haitian migrants, okay, with their reins on horseback, invoking some of the darkest chapters of American history, okay? And I'm sure, I mean, someone can link this. Someone can link the video. I've done so many throughout the entire administration. That wasn't Brandon, that was the Texas sheriff, dude. It was still under the watchful gaze of the Joe Biden Democratic administration, and it was entirely against his first 100 days agenda. Please, someone sent me that video. I don't know where Little Bear is, but I need to show it to you. Just so you understand where I was at in my commentary all the way back then and where we arrived at. So let's circle right on the Gen Pacific. Imagine, dude, oh my God, every show would be like, this is not, no, this isn't what I'm looking for specifically. This is not what I'm looking for. But what I'm looking for is my commentary on immigration. There's a video that we always go back to, that we always post in the chat. Not AI voice? Yes, real voice. Okay. Little Bear came in clutch as always. This border crisis narrative is incredibly annoying from the media, by the way. They are absolutely feeding into this. And they're going to cause the Democrats to behave in a totally, even in a more reactionary way than they were already going to behave. It is so incredibly manufactured. There's always been a crisis at the border. I mean, there are humanitarian problems occurring at the border as a consequence of the conditions there, 120 degrees, reverse in the desert, all that sort of stuff. And then also the American government adding on to the cruelty with the way that they choose to deal with people that are crossing the border, that are seeking asylum. There is an extra crisis on the border. There's always a crisis on the border. It never stops. This is from March 15th, 2021. The problem is the way media covers it. You can either cover it like you do under the Trump administration, which is somewhat honestly, from a moral grandstand point of view, like an actual honest point of view, by saying this is really messed up, this is really horrible, the way that we are treating these people is absolutely ridiculous. Or you can treat it in a way where you look at the border and you say, there's a gigantic crisis happening in the border currently, and it's really bad because so many people are coming in. So many people are coming in, what are we going to do? Depending on who is in charge, we either deal with it from the point of view of reactionary garbage, claiming that this is a huge issue, not taking an actual stance on it, but just simply channeling the right-wing agitation, as they have done. Just covering it as, many Americans are concerned that the border border is turning into a pylon with hundreds of thousands of migrants coming in through the floodgates. Like, that's no different than what Fox News says. No different than what Fox News says. Yeah. Just like that, administration changes hands, and CNN starts humanizing migrants. And the problem here is that the media is going to be antagonistic because they want to drive clicks. The media is going to behave in a reactionary manner. Okay?